I.S.U.P.K.
Shalom, shalom, this is Callum L from London, UK, all the way to the US of A. Listen, subscribe to I.S.U.P.K. I'm always on that channel checking out the new knowledge that I.S.U.P.K is dropping.
Our people have lost their way, you understand? We trust in oppression and hate our way, hate our own people. We trust in oppression. Give me that, let me touch the 417, give me that. Because you have to understand, in 2019, you see what I'm saying, any black or Hispanic man that is following these religions that have destroyed your people, you should be ashamed of your damn self. You should be ashamed that you're weak enough and simple enough to really actually follow these religions, knowing the knowledge that's out there today. It's no hidden fact that slavery was, that Christianity was inflicted upon the black man in slavery on the West Indies. It's no strange fact. It's no hidden fact that Islam was impressing our people in slavery. And all these other fake religions out there. You understand? It's no secret. You understand? In 2019, but in 2019 we become so simple and so weak.
Lamentation 4 verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed. As for us, our eyes have yet failed. For our vain help in our
vain help. Let's read that again. Read that one more time.
Lamentation 4 verse 17. As for us, our eyes have yet failed. For our vain help in our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. All these other nations that we look towards, we want to follow the white man's religion, we want to follow Christianity, we want to follow Islam, follow the Arab and East Indian religion. All these other nations we look to, they cannot save us, looking for our vain help. You understand? Our only help, black man, Hispanic man, is the God of our forefathers, the Yahweh in the Hebrew. That is our help. Do you understand? Get me Psalms 94 verse 16. That is our help we look towards. We don't look towards the simple sell-out Christian who's going to shave his beard and bald his head and sell out and cool and shuck and jive and wear a suit and bow and tie all day. We're not going to look for the vain help of a coon running around, walking around wearing a man dress. A black man walking around wearing a man dress. That's not our culture. That's not our way. You understand? But we have lost our way. Read that.
Psalms 94:16. Who will raise up?
So this is a question. Who will rise up? Who will rise up for what? Read that.
For me, against the evildoers. Or who shall stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Who will stand up for the Most High against the workers of iniquity? Who will stand up against this rainbow thing? They defiled the rainbow that the Most High gave unto the children of Israel, unto his people. They defiled the rainbow that was given unto the people, to the Most High, was given to the people for a sign. They defiled the rainbow. Who will stand up against all the drug dealing in our communities? Who will stand up against the knife crime in our communities? Who will stand up against all the abortions happening in our communities? Who will stand up against that? You understand? I'll tell you who stands against that. The man of the I.S.U.P.K. That's who will stand up against that. You understand? The man of the I.S.U.P.K. We keep the Lord the Most High. You understand? Get me Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Read that. You understand? We have to come back to our way as a people. So-called blacks of the West Indies, so-called Negroes of the Americas, so-called natives of North Central South America. We have to come back to our way. And our way is not following in these other nations. Our way is not following in the religions and the philosophies of these other nations. Our way is to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments as the people of God, as who we are, and coming back and serving Yahweh. You understand? Read that.
Deuteronomy 4 verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes.
I have taught you what?
I have taught you statutes.
Go to Deuteronomy 1 and verse 1 to find out who the book of Deuteronomy is speaking to. Because a lot of you out here might think, oh, the Bible's for everybody, rainbow this, rainbow that, everything's love and fairy tales and BS. But that's not what the Bible's about. Read what you got.
The book of Deuteronomy 1 verse 1. These be the word.
These be the words, book of Deuteronomy, read.
Which Moses spake unto all Israel.
To who?
All Israel.
No, the Chinese.
All Israel.
No, the Caucasian man.
All Israel.
No, the Arab man.
All Israel. On the side of Jordan.
These are the words spoken to the children of Israel in the wilderness. You understand? When we was delivered out of the hands of those Africans, those Hamites. Because understand something, those blacks of the West Indies, those blacks of the Americas are not African. You understand? Those are the people of God. Those are God's heritage. You understand? Without them, these kingdoms will not be as great as they are today. Without them, the music that you have today will not be what it is today. Without the so-called black man of the West Indies, all the music and all the food and the culture and the vibe that you get today will not be here today. Everyone has to cleave onto us and take what is ours and claim it for themselves. Just like this Bible. They want to paint their faces of the prophets and the priests of the Lord as white people. But that is not. That's our thing. But they took it, just like everything else, they took it and they whitewashed it and made it their own. Just like today, you even get these Africans coming out with this Afro beats. Where did that come from? If it weren't for the black man of Jamaica and the West Indies, there would be no Afro beats. Those reggae, you understand? You understand all these things that come out of, and our music and our jive and our style, that came from us, you understand? And we built this land. Our forefathers and foremothers built this land, cutting cane in the West Indies, and then come here in the 60s and built up even more. Do you understand? But yet their descendants today are oppressed in the ghettos of the UK, which they built. The descendants are oppressed in the cities and the ghettos of Europe and all across the planet Earth. You go to India right now, you'll find a black man who descended the slave trade, who was our people. Do you understand? You'll find a black man who was scattered there and scattered across the four corners of the earth. Why? In cattle slave ships, like the brother read before. Because we are the people of the Most High. We're the Most High's heritage. That's why. Everything we touch turns to gold. You ain't gonna come at me and tell me that some Somalian man got good rap, good music, good food. But yet, you got the black man from Jamaica who started everything around here. If it weren't for the black man of the West Indian and the Caribbeans, there would be no foreigners here. Do you understand? But yet you got some Eastern European coming around here talking about getting benefits and that. If it weren't for us, you won't be getting none of that. Do you understand? Read what you got.
The book of Deuteronomy 4 verse 5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 4 verse 5, speaking to the people of God. You so-called blacks of the West Indian, of the Caribbeans, you blacks of the Americas, you natives of the Americas. Read.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment.
I have taught you what?
Statutes and judgment. Even as the Lord my God command me, that ye should do so in the land where ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom.
You hear that, black man, Hispanic man? This is your wisdom. Read that again. What's your wisdom?
The Lord's statutes and commandments which I have give thee. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
Get Jeremiah 17:4. But this is our wisdom and our sighting in the sight of the nations. Do you understand? But that is what we will give. That's our heritage because we're the Most High's chosen. Do you understand? But yet, what happened? What happened, black man? What happened, Hispanic man? We lost our way. We lost our heritage. That's how we were able to be lost and spun around and lost up all these other religions and all these other doctrines and philosophies and cultures and ways that are not of our own. You know what I want? Read that.
The book of Jeremiah 17 verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I have gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies, even in the land which thou knowest not.
In the land which thou knowest not. That's the so-called UK. That's all the countries and the kingdoms all over Europe, all over Eastern Europe. You know what I'm saying? In the land which we knew not. That's why we were scattered. That's why the children of the Most High were scattered to learn falsehoods and to do what?
I have given thee, I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
To serve our enemies in the land which thou knowest not. Who did that happen to? That's history 101. You understand? In these schools today, they want to talk about teaching history, right? They're teaching history, but yet about 80% of the kids don't even know the basic history of the so-called black man. You understand? The basic history of the so-called Hispanic man. The basic history of how these kids, these so-called great, you understand? The so-called Great Britain became so great today. You know how Britain got great today? By rape, rob, and murder. That's how Britain got great. By the bloodshed and the tears and the sweat and the death of my people. Do you understand? The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's how Britain was great. That's how Britain is great today. By those people. You understand? And no one else. You understand? That's how all these kingdoms became so great. Because of the rape, rob, and murder of these nations, man. You understand? It's a wicked nation that will actually go ahead and destroy and take from everyone else all the wealth, everything else of our lands. But yet those same people come to beg and ask for small benefits, small help in their communities that are poor because of you. But yet you will say, nah, pull up your socks, do and work harder. Man, damn that. Read what you got.
For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever.
You understand? We kindled the fire in the anger because we lost our way and we followed these heathens that have oppressed us. Give me Isaiah 14:1. Give me that. Because a lot of people out here, you know what I'm saying, you think this is a joke, it's a jive, it's a get up. But you have to understand that it's the truth according to the Bible. The truth that is not taught in these churches. The truth that is not taught in these Muslim mosques. The truth that is not taught, that you will never be taught in these other false religions and belief systems. Do you understand? This is what's not taught. But understand this. Those children that built up all these lands of Europe and built all the kingdoms of the earth, you understand? Those children who made the wealth and made the economy so great in all these lands, understand that the Most High, their power, has not forgotten their struggle. Understand that to this day, the struggle that we suffer will be remembered. And as it continues, the bigger the tax will come, you understand? The bigger the vengeance will be, do you understand? So as long as it goes, the more you have to reap. The more you sow, the more you have to reap, you understand? Read that.
The book of Isaiah 14 verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy upon Jacob.
Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes, which are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Read.
And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them.
And the stranger, so if you want to find out what the kingdom of heaven is, we're reading it right now. We're reading about you know what I'm saying? This is the Israelites in the last days. This is what's going to happen to the so-called strangers. The strangers in this context of what the other nations. So that we will be set in our land, you understand? And the strangers will be joined with us. Read on.
And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They shall do what?
Cleave to the house of Jacob.
You know what it means to cleave? You know just like how the so-called blacks in the UK today, the so-called West Indians today, cleave onto the white people, cleave onto the government for benefits, and cleave onto the East Indian man for their stores and their produce and their clothing and their food and water and somewhere to stay and a job. The same way we cleave onto all these nations for these things, read, you shall cleave unto us, read.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them.
Shall do what?
And the house of Israel shall possess them.
The same way you possessed us. The same way we was your property. You understand? Read.
In the land of the Lord, for servants and handmaid.
The same way that we was scattered captive in all these lands under you and your people, your forefathers and your people today, is the same way you and your sons and your daughters will be under us in the last days. Read.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
We shall do what? We shall take what?
We shall take them captives. and they shall rule. And he shall take them captives, whose captives we were.
Whose captives we were. Do you understand? Right now in 2019, the so-called black man of the West Indies is still a captive in today. Do you understand? And we was in chattel slavery. Do you understand? Cattle slavery, you know what I'm saying? From the 1600s onwards, and even before that in the Islamic slave trade from the 1500s. Do you understand? But remember, the Most High has not forgotten what you have done to his people. Do you understand? All these other nations, the Arab slave trade, where the East Indians took us, and the Arabs, and the African, and they sold us to the white man. All these things, don't get it twisted. You understand? You may tell us to forget about slavery, you know what I'm saying? Put up your socks. But remember this, the Most High, creator of all things, the Most High Yahweh has not forgotten these things. You understand? And he said, we shall take them captives, whose what?
Whose captives they were. Whose captives they were. And we shall rule over our oppressors.
We shall do what?
And we shall rule over our oppressors.
Our oppressors who oppressed us in 2019, who oppressed us since the 60s in the UK. Do you understand? Our oppressors who sell us, who work in our neighborhoods and sell us goods and wear and food and water and all kinds of things, but yet do not give back to us. We support your businesses, but yet you abuse us and talk evil of us. We join your religions, but yet you abuse us and talk evil of us. But yet, understand this, we shall take them captives, whose captives we were. Read that again.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
You understand? That's the kingdom of heaven, if you didn't know. It's not a fairy tale book. It's not a clouds and fairy tales and all hugs and kisses. No. It's about judgments and redemption for the, you know what I'm saying? It's about people reaping what they sow. It's about the people committing crimes and paying for those crimes. That's what this Bible is about. It's about a people who have been chosen of the Most High and have been oppressed because of their disobedience, understand? But the Most High still does not forget the wickedness that is being done unto them, because we are his heritage, you know what I'm saying? Get me Deuteronomy 7:6. Because the Most High ain't going to forget who he loves. You know what I'm saying? The Most High does not change. In the Christian church, you may say, oh, everything's changed, and it's all God is love and hugs and kisses, right? But yet, in the Christian church, it says the Lord done away with. That's ungodly. How can the Lord be done away, but yet you've got all this wickedness going around, all this abomination happening, but yet you're saying God is with you? You understand? Understand this, that judgment is coming to this place. Judgment is coming to all these lands. And trust me, ain't no one gonna hide. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no little nuclear bomb hideout place. Ain't no little, none of that. Ain't bomb shot. Ain't none of that bomb shot ain't gonna help in that last day. You know what I'm saying? That day is coming, and it's coming swift. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto him, unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So just remember, when you think of the history and you think of what's happening today, you think of all the oppression that is happening to the people, these great people that do so well and build up all these kingdoms and bring so much flavor and vibe to everything they touch. Remember that remember the oppression that you inflict upon them, and remember that their God, you understand, who is a God of great terror. Remember that. Remember that He loves us. Read.
A holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people above all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
And remember, the Most High don't change. The Most High does not change. The same way it was then, is the same way it's going to be now. The same way he's reading about prophecies then, the same way he's reading about prophecies now. Ain't nothing changing. You understand? Give me the... Read on.
The Lord did not choose thee. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in numbers than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the commandments and the oath which he had shown unto your father, the Lord brought you up out of Egypt with a mighty hand.
Give me the Most High said he loved us, not because we were many among nations, but we were few among all the nations. But the Most High chose us. Those people you look upon, those people that everyone envies, everyone tries to copy. You know what I'm saying? Those people that everyone loves to look to, those people that love to indulge in our food and copy our slang and our style and our way. Everyone that loves to envy us, but yet they want to look down upon us and secretly go back to their own people and oppress us. But remember, those people, the Most High chose them. You understand? And in the last days, you'll reap the benefits of your forefathers.
Nobody tell you cry. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. And it's worth something.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues, call this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged